Namaste. Namaste. Welcome to this broadcast. Sadhguru Shri Muji Ji ki Jai. Ananta Ji ki Jai. Sangha ki Jai. So, whoever is joining in is also welcome on the Hangout. I posted the YouTube link and the Hangout link as well. I'm wondering what to speak about today, actually. So there's this thing that has been happening here, which has made me contemplate a few things. Primarily with the movement of truth, how truth moves. It seems to me that the entire time, the movement of seeking, the movement of wanting to be involved in the world in an egoic way, the movement to wanting to come out of it through transcendence, through quite simply by refusing attention and belief to the realm, as well as the movement back into it, having known that nothing is affected, is all a movement in grace. So one of the things that I often wonder is, can we be okay with where we are? Whatever it might be, wherever it might be, whatever state we might be in and wherever we might be. Because in this state of non-resistance, in this state of neutrality, somehow we give truth the freedom to explore itself infinitely. Not that the truth needs freedom to explore, but it gives truth the freedom to explore in a qualitative way. Maybe when we come into the journey, we are desperate to get rid of our suffering. That's how the journey starts for a lot of us, isn't it? The desperateness to get out of the wheel of suffering. But at some point, the suffering goes away. It is seen that I myself am the result. I myself am the cause of this suffering. When I give belief to thoughts, I suffer. When I don't recognize truly who I am in that present moment, I suffer. But at a certain point, it becomes clear that irrespective of what's happening, even if suffering were to appear momentarily, that I cannot really suffer. It cannot really affect that which I am. So do we get satisfied with this? Do we get satisfied with this state of non-suffering? Or is there an urge here to explore truth even more deeply, even more infinitely, just because we can? So Rashmi is here as well. Namaste, Rashmi. You're welcome to join the Hangout as well. I posted the link on the chai shop. So we were just talking that I don't know if I have anything that's coming up in a direct way. So I was just contemplating generally, without addressing anything in particular, the movement of truth, how the truth moves. Consciously, do we recognize this urge to explore more, just because that we can, just because we have the capacity to? Because it seems like truth is always inviting us to explore it more deeply. Rashmi says, no hangout, beloved. Phone works weird with the hangout. It's fine, it's fine. So it seems that wherever we are, the next step seems to appear to us. Wherever we are internally, the next step is always inviting us to take the journey even more deeply. Are we accepting this invitation? Rashmi is saying you were satisfied. You were saying something about satisfied with no suffering. Yes. So what I was trying to say was, by and large, it's not very difficult to get rid of suffering in a way. If the pointing is followed in a very earnest and a sincere way, and in an intense way, it's followed deeply in the heart. Somehow suffering goes away. But what I was asking was, there is still an urge. There is still an urge to explore truth even more deeply. And this urge to explore truth more deeply is not born out of incompleteness. It's born out of completeness itself. It is not because I'm incomplete that I want to explore the truth. It is because I'm already complete and I want to complete myself even more. So this can be very subtle, because we have to also be aware that we are not. Actually, it's very simple. It's very simple. It's that it doesn't matter what's actually happening. It doesn't really matter what's really happening. It's the assumptions that we have about it. So even the movement to search for the truth, to find out that which I truly am, that began a spiritual journey, so to say, was a thing that happened on its own. But the assumption behind it was the seeker identity. The assumption behind it was, I am incomplete as I truly am in this moment. So before we venture further, before we venture anywhere, the master says, look into the now and tell me what's incomplete. He says, look into the moment and tell me what's incomplete. So once it's completely clear that what is here now is always complete, and that is what I truly am, then we have the freedom to explore ourselves in a way fully, without any resistance. Because it is the nature of life to explore itself more deeply. It is the nature of life to discover itself more deeply. And this need not be out of an assumption of lack. It could be due to the saying that there is already abundance here. And yet I want to explore the truth. And yet I want to embody it fully because I can. Because there's an innate capacity in truth to explore itself in this way. I ask questions about myself, not because I feel like I may not have realized something fully, but I ask because I can. I can eat the breadcrumbs of the mind. And as Byron Katie says, it's delicious. I inquire because I have the capacity to inquire. I have the intelligence to inquire. I have the love for the truth. And that's the reason I inquire. Because it's a joy for me to know the truth. It's a joy for me, even if a little assumption, a little belief, a little mistaken identity falls away. even in an event that is seemingly insignificant. Can I be completely present with whatever I'm doing? Can I accept this invitation to explore the truth more fully, yet not by the invitation from the mind that I'm not yet there? Can I explore without exploring? Can I explore from the heart and not from the mind? Can I explore because of joy and not because of need or want? It's a very beautiful thing that J. Krishnamurti once said. He said, if the root of the seeking, or the root of your movement, the root of your thought, the root of your action is need or want, it only grows the tree which gives more fruits of need and want. If the seed is joy, the fruit of that tree is joy as well. So essentially, we are not questioning our actions, we are only questioning the assumptions behind these actions. Because if we were to look back on the way our spiritual journey started, it would be quite clear to us that there was no role involved in me taking this journey up. Because it often happens that many times way before we would have heard about some of these profound truths, yet there was something that was not ready for it at the moment. What made it ready, we can never say. It just becomes ready, and it just says yes. And this movement is a movement of grace. This is a movement which is completely involuntary and spontaneous. So what is lacking in this moment? What is lacking in this moment? We have to be completely clear about this before, and as Father keeps rightly pointing out, what is here now is always free. Can you show me bondage? If we are clear about this, completely clear about this, as Father gives the washing machine example, it doesn't really matter how the washing machine spins after that, once you begin to enjoy the journey. Because, there are two levels functioning. At one level, we are the awareness, completely unchanging, ever perfect, ever still. And yet another level, there is this human body here. There's a life that is being lived. There are relationships, there are parents, there are children, there are boyfriends, girlfriends, partners, there's the job, there's the boss. Can we be the evidence of truth in our everyday environment? There's a very beautiful quote that Mujiji says. He says, blessed is the one whose life is the evidence of the truth. So can we be the evidence of the truth? Can we look into us so deeply and so penetratingly that we are always open to being shown what is false in us? Yet, at one level, this that is discovered as false in us never really is us. Yet, at another level, it is us too. Can we explore from joy? Can we examine the need before we begin our exploration? Nitya, my dear, do you want to say something? You're welcome to unmute yourself anytime if you feel like you want to say something. You can feel free to interrupt me as well. There's no no rules here.
I,
Namaste, Pekka.
Um, I actually cannot say anything. It's just your words are going into my heart just so purely and so much joy to listen to you. I really truly enjoyed this.
One heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Pekka has just joined us now. Pekka, you're welcome to join the Hangout as well. I'm not sure if you're on the Sangha of Being chat, so I don't know if you have the link, but we can get you the link if you want to be a part of the Hangout. So before, the root of what I was speaking about until now is that before we go ahead, can we examine this? What is at the root of our actions? Pekka says free day of the Advaita day. So nice. So what is the assumption behind our spiritual search? What is the assumption behind, what is the motive behind our spiritual search? What is it that we truly want? It's a very beautiful question, isn't it? And post it in the description like we do in my satsangs. Namaste, Father. Rashmi says, sorry, Om, not able to pay attention with kids around. That's okay, my dear. It's fine. It's fine. And post it in the description. Ah, description. I don't know how to do that now, actually.
In the description of YouTube. No, when you're on YouTube, in the description you can post the Hangout link.
Okay, there is a place for info and settings. Ah, okay, I got it. Oops. Another one is opening. Okay, I think. Okay. Pekka says my kids are in the school. Can concentrate to the most important subject. Actually, my niece may just walk in actually any moment. Father says no worries, we can do it for the future. Yes, Father, I realized that actually you have to create another hangout thing if we do it again. So again and again, Father is addressing in satsang these days, as he's done always, is that what do we take ourselves to be? Do we take ourselves to be incomplete objects that needs to be completed? What are we truly? What are we truly? When we contemplate something, are we contemplating out of our joy, or are we contemplating out of the need to gain knowledge? or the need to feel secure about something? Is it born out of a sense of incompleteness? Also, another thing that has been occurring here is what else am I saying that I shouldn't happen anymore? What am I saying no to, essentially? What is it that I don't want to happen? Do I not want to suffer? Do I not want to believe? Do I not want to become a person? Do I not want to have a certain kind of thought? What is it that I'm saying no to? If we are clear that that which I am is completely unaffected, why do we have to say no to something? What has been lost when a strong appearance occurs? Or what has been gained when a beautiful appearance occurs? So I just saw a 30-second clip of Byron Katie where she was saying, we are watching the movie of our life, like Father says, no, that what's happening today in the life of home. It's like a movie that's being watched. He said maybe that's why we're carrying around bottles of Coca-Cola and cigarettes around. So you have a movie to watch. Some entertaining things happening in the movie. So can we enjoy the movie of our lives, whatever it is, no matter what's happening? So I was reading Adi Shanti's chapter from Falling into Grace in my last podcast, as well as I was reading it after that. In that he says there's a time when Jesus had a premonition that he was going to be crucified, and apparently I hadn't heard. I mean, I'd heard of this part where he says, "Oh God, have you forsaken me? Oh Father, have you forsaken me?" But after that, apparently he also weeps and cries, and he says, "Not this, please, not this." So even in that moment, did he did he lose did he lose something? Even in that pain, even in that agony, did he lose something? What do we think that an awakened life should look like? I had an insight a few days back. Um, I was just sitting and I was contemplating on. I used to have these daydreams. I used to have these daydreams a few years ago now, where I'm always the central character of my dream, of my daydream, and I'm always popular. I'm always exceptional. I'm the lead character. I'm getting all the attention, um, and somehow that the image there was not the one that was here in a way. And the image, in the image there was this perfect, whatever I was doing, I was perfect. If I thought I was a painter in the dream, I was the perfect painter, which got the most appreciation from the best painters in the world, and all of those things. And I was watching a cricket game, I was the best cricketer in the world, and things like this, and it was going on. And I was sitting like this, and I was thinking, I don't have so many of those daydreams anymore. And something felt, actually, I'm completely comfortable being in this, because at that moment it felt, this is it, this body, this right here, right now, this is it. This is as divine as it's going to get. This is as good as it's going to get. This is the climax. And this is what I've been waiting in the movie for. This moment, right? This moment. And it clarified for me, maybe that's why I don't need to be a lead character in my dream anymore. So there was, I used to watch a TV show called The Scrubs. It's a soap. It's a comedy show where it's shot in the hospital. So there, this guy, the main character there, he keeps having daydreams all the time. So there's one daydream where his friend is Batman, he's Robin. So he says, holy inferiority complex, how low is my self-esteem that I'm a sidekick in my own dream. So it almost seems like for us to be a sidekick is like a step down. It's like we always have to be the central character. We always have to be that, special, magic wielding character. We always have to be the superhero of our dreams. Are we completely okay? Are we completely okay being a nobody? Looking as beautiful or as ugly as we actually are? Look, just completely comfortable in our skin. Actually, I was also contemplating what beauty is. And I mean, in human form, so to say. And I was wondering, there are certain people who look beautiful, but yet, there is something there, that they're not comfortable with themselves. They're not comfortable with themselves. And somehow, when someone's not comfortable with themselves, it's like they're in the wrong body or something. It's like God is not happy being God. He wants to be something more. And yet there are people, who may not look so physically attractive, yet they're so comfortable with themselves that they're beautiful. They're exceptionally beautiful because they're just completely content being themselves. So no matter what's happening in our mind at this moment, no matter what's happening in this moment, if you're crying, if you're laughing, if you're having a mind attack, if you're having a grace attack, whatever it is it's happening, are we completely comfortable with it? Have we said yes to that? If we are not completely comfortable with ourselves, wherever we are, can we be comfortable with other beings around us? Can we be compassionate to them? How's that even possible? Can we fall in love with where we are at this moment? There's the habit of the mind sometimes that no matter what the moment is going on, it's always saying, how is this affecting me in a negative way? That's what the mind is effectively saying all the time. If there's one seeming negative payoff of that, it only focuses on that. Even with small things, even with small things. I was just talking to my mom today, and we received a letter from Regional Transport Office. And she was just telling me that the moment she saw the letter, she was like, "Oh my God, you've been fined because you were overspeeding, or you skipped a signal." She said, and then later it was so beautiful. She said that this is how the mind, it's like that's the first thing it can think of, that something's wrong. It turns out they weren't sending a speeding ticket or a signal jumping ticket. It was just a card that they were sending me. So can we begin to see the infinite blessings each thing brings? We don't even need to create this. Just by being open, we can see that there is something divine happening, completely divine. If we didn't suffer, we would never have, come to this moment. Actually, no matter what the moment is, no matter how terrible the suffering is, and we've all had our share of such moments in our lives, has it ever completely lasted? It goes away, isn't it? So I read this other beautiful quote that Adishanti, he said once when he was on a retreat. He met an abbess who told him that a lot of people know how not to get caught in hell, but very few people know how not to get caught in heaven. So this is again coming back to that point of, can we be okay with our imperfections in a way? Can we completely fall silent wherever we are? So I was just reading a quote that Atma had posted in Sangha of Being group. I'll read it out. It says, it was by Mujiji. Yes. He says, I want to tell you this. Right here in the midst of the biggest crisis, the most overpowering fear lies the portal to the infinite. It is immovable, sacred, and open to those who have the courage or the desperateness to surrender all for truth. So I'll read it again. He says, I want to tell you this. Right here, in the midst of the biggest crisis, the most overpowering fear lies a portal to the infinite. It is immovable, sacred, and open to those who have courage or desperateness to surrender all for truth. So if there's a portal to the infinite in our seeming darkest moments, then what about now? Have we ever left home? When do we say that I've left home? Can a strong feeling make me leave home? Can tears make me leave home? Can a moment of frustration make me leave home? The other thing it occurred to me the other day was I was always trying to solve the mind. I was always trying to solve it. I was always trying to solve it to the extent I could say, that's it. I've solved the mind. It cannot trouble me anymore. I've done it. This is what I was looking for. I'd say, no, this is it, that I've done it. Then I realized it's impossible. I remember, I remember speaking to Father once, I think it was in Rishikesh last year, and we were speaking about vigilance in general. And I was saying that, after a while you begin to learn the tricks of the mind. And he said, yes, you do, but, the mind comes up with newer tricks. So there's no way you can learn all the tricks of the mind. It's just as infinite as you are, because it is you as well. So we can never come to the end of mind as well. So if you're trying to solve the mind, we can stop it right now. It's not going to work. It's like, as Father says, trying to control the flow of the river with a twig. In our unconditional love, can we embrace the mind as well? So we've done all sorts of things with the mind. We've let go of our thoughts. We've laughed at our thoughts. We've exposed our thoughts. Can we just see them as little children asking for attention? Actually, one of the things that I realized I was contemplating this is that even the mind seemingly wants good things for us, but it just doesn't know how, that's all. It's always looking out for us, but it doesn't know how to look out for us. So that's the only reason we shouldn't listen to it, not because it's evil. Actually, I saw this with a lot of the thoughts. It's always, it's trying to get you love. It's trying to get you approval. It's looking out for you, but it's just looking out for you on a mistaken assumption, and it has no clue how to get you what you want, so to say. The other thing we may have observed, all of us in satsang, as as we begin to stay more and more in satsang and our insights begin to grow deeper, even the mind starts to use all of that too. So as we begin to go deeper, even the mind starts to go deeper. And it seems like it'll never stop looking out for me, even when I don't ask for it. It's always looking out for me. I just have to say no thanks sometimes. So once we're rooted in stillness and silence, we can go anywhere, knowing that nothing can happen to us. The other thing it also seems to me is that we have this assumption that something can go terribly and fundamentally wrong. It's almost instinctual, isn't it? It's almost instinctual that we say that, the way we defend ourselves sometimes, um, the way we justify. It's almost like something is terribly wrong. So if all there is God, how can anything be terribly wrong? Even we saying that something is wrong is also included in this divinity. It says that love embraces everything. So if love doesn't embrace imperfections and mistakes, then what kind of a love is it? So the bottom line is right here, right now, this is it. This is as real as it's going to get. So as we begin to let go of our thoughts, and there's a certain distance between the mental realm and us, we can begin to see that that which I am is actually completely untouched. There's nothing that can make it touch me. Even belief cannot make it touch me. Suffering cannot make it touch me. So we begin to lose fear then. So it said that hell is the worst thing that can happen to anyone. So this is the kind of heaven that even includes hell. This is the love that doesn't exclude hell. And this is the hell, even this hell brings you to God. That's the kind of beauty that we live in. There is nothing in this life that is not pointing to God. There's nothing in this life that is not pointing us back to ourselves. And there's nothing that we can do to escape this field of grace. So Jesus said, I live in the world, but I'm not of it. Adeshandi said apparently when he started giving retreats, a lot of the people used to come to him and tell him, yeah, that's what I want. I want to live in the world, but not of it. So Adya used to say that no, no, that's not what you want. You want to barely live in the world. That's what you want. You want to escape your humanness. You want to escape all of your, life. You want to escape your difficult relationships. You don't want to be tested. So the truth is so kind that it's always asking us to step up our game. It never fails to show us what's incorrect in us, so to say. It never fails to show us what are the mistaken ideas we hold about ourselves. I think there's this Muji video where he says, the Buddha looks like you. It's so beautiful and profound, isn't it? Because we always say that, there's something outside of me. There's always something outside of me. And of course, it's a very important phase as well that we see that, we are beyond we are not capable of helping ourselves at one point. But yet we never leave this habit, we never leave this habit that, uh, so and so is awakened, so and so is complete, so and so has reached home. That's how enlightenment should look like. That's how awakening should look like. So if Buddha doesn't look like me, what's the point in me being interested in it? That means I had no chance. Does anyone have something to say? Nitya, Rashmi, Father, Becca. Pekka says, yes, we are lazy and want no challenges. Yes. I don't know if it's actually laziness or it's because of some mistaken idea we have of ourselves. Because once we come into satsang for a bit, somehow the momentum begins to change. What was, it's initially so easy to just believe in thought and just follow the stream of mind, becomes actually effort to do that. So yes, it does take effort initially, but after a while, the momentum is in the opposite direction, so to say. So then it seems like we resist it only because, I don't know actually, just because maybe we think that if I were to admit this fault, I'd be admitting that I'm incomplete. I don't know. So I was also doing this other thing, like a simple contemplation. So it's like a bit like a thought comes and tells you something. So you say, so what's the problem? So it could be something like you're not looking good. So what's the problem? Like nobody's going to give you attention. So what's the problem? If nobody gives you attention, then no one's going to find you attractive and love you. So what's the problem? If no one's going to love you, then you're going to be alone. So what's the problem? So if you go down to the root of it, we'll find a core message, which is like, I need to be loved. I need to be, it's a need. It's I need. Just in discovering of this one itself, it's enough somehow. Grace will take care of the rest. So there's this beautiful thing that Adishanti was saying. He was saying that his path was the path of failures. He failed and failed and failed, and he continues to fail. Are we okay with this sort of path? Are we okay with failing again and again? Are we okay being shown what's the right way? Or do we want to be proven correct? So it seems like the world is a thought. We can only have a thought about the world. We cannot understand world in the way that we expect to understand it. We can only understand it, so to say, through thoughts. So if we are not okay with our thoughts, are we okay with the world? How can we be okay with the world? How can we be compassionate to someone else if we are judging ourselves? If we made a conclusion about ourselves, we'll inevitably make a conclusion about someone else. Is there something here beyond conclusion? Is there something here so complete that it needs nothing else to fulfill itself? Whatever is here now, this is what we are. And we can never lose this. We can never lose this. Whatever happens, whatever's happening, even when we think we lost it, we haven't lost it. That's the beauty of it. We're always bathing in grace. So someone asked Mojiji once, I think, what is grace? And he said, grace is what you are. I might be mistaken. I don't know if it's Mojiji, but it seems like it might be. It might be him. I think I remember it was him. I love you all so much. Thank you for being here and being the beautiful mirrors of truth. Always at the feet of the Eternal Master in the heart. Moji ji ki Jai. Ananta ji ki Jai. Sangha ki Jai. Om Namah Shivaya. May our heart's deepest yearning come true. Love you too, Rashmi and Pekka. Love you, Father. Thank you, Father. Yes, Nitya, you want to say something?
Thank you. Just thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pekka. Thank you. I'm going to end the broadcast now. Bye.